Hi, this is Nick with Cabot Guns, and today we're going to talk about oiling your Cabot 1911. Now, all of our pistols are very tight, and they do like to have a good layer of oil on them to preserve proper function at all times, but this is very important, specifically when the pistol is brand new and you're breaking it in for the first few times at the range. On DLC guns, this can be even more important because the Diamond-Like carbon finish does have a tendency to absorb a lot of the initial oil that we put on the gun and can dry out a little bit in transit from our place to your FFL. So here I have a DLC Cabot Insurrection as well as a DLC coated Gentleman's Carry, and we're going to go through these steps to oil your pistol right after you first get it. When you first get your Cabot pistol, it has been professionally cleaned and lubricated at the factory, so there is no need to take it apart and clean it. This is the cleanest your gun is ever going to be, I promise. However, lubricating it, especially on the DLC when you first get it, before shooting it, is going to ensure that it has enough lubrication as the DLC can dry out in transit. The first thing that we're going to want to do is lock the pistol open and make sure that a round is not in the chamber and it is safe. This pistol is safe. The next is going to be to take your oil of choice. Any oil you want to use is completely up to you. We just recommend a lighter gun oil. Definitely do not use grease. And the needle applicators like these from Lucas Oil make it very easy to apply gun oil right where you want it. So the first place to apply some is going to be right here at the front of the barrel hood. On this Insurrection, we do have fluted cuts on the barrel, so you want to put it right at the front. And then go ahead and work the pistol back and forth and then lock it open. This is going to move the oil that's on the barrel hood down and into the upper locking lugs. The second place to oil is going to be on the inside on this little piece of steel that's sticking up there. That is the disconnector. So we're going to want to add a little bit of oil to the head of the disconnector, and that is going to drip down into the sear and the ignition components and oil them up. The next place is at the front of the barrel. So right here on the barrel bell, this is the part that makes contact with the barrel bushing, and at the very far back of the guide rod, because the guide rod does rub on flat wire springs, specifically in Cabot Commanders. Now the last place to oil is going to be on the frame rails. So you're just going to try to add oil on the inside of the rails in the back and get it to drip down. Get it to drip down the rails to get them all fully coated. Once you have oil there, all you need to do is close the gun, slide it back and forth, and you're going to feel that oil work in and really smooth everything out. If you added enough oil, you are going to see excess coming out the back of the slide like this. That is not a problem. Just wipe it away with your hand. And now your pistol is oiled up and ready for your range trip. As an added note, we do recommend for the first 200 rounds on 9mm Cabots to use 124 grain NATO spec ammunition, which just means 124 grain bullet traveling at a minimum of 1,150 feet per second. This is going to make sure that you have full power as the gun is breaking in, because the first few rounds, the recoil spring is going to be tight, the main spring is going to be tight, and all of the parts are still burnishing in and getting into that final fit. But after a few hundred rounds of full power 124 grain NATO ammunition, your pistol should be ready to run just about anything you can throw at it. On the 45 ACP side, we do recommend 230 grain ball for the first 200 rounds, just to make sure that everything breaks in properly. And also on 45 ACP single stack magazines, the magazine spring when you first get it is going to be tight. So if you try to load it with 8 rounds into a pistol with the slide closed, so if you were to try to do this to have 8+1 capacity, in the beginning, it might be a little bit tight until that magazine spring breaks in, but pretty soon, after a few times inserting the magazine and bringing it back out and a few hundred rounds of cycling it, the magazine spring will break in and it will slide in very, very nicely and fall free very easily. So there you have it. It's very quick and easy to oil your Cabot 1911 to get it ready to take out to the range. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our website. Thanks.